Hey guys, welcome to Surf and Show. I'm Noel Salas, and today's surfboard review is on the Medina model by Cabianca Surfboards. Now this particular board design is more for that daily driver or small wave high performance board. And I do my best to grab one stock or do a custom. The stock board I got is 5'8". Now this is a round tail PU poly coming in at 25.3 liters. This is a custom stringless EPS epoxy 5'6", coming in at 26 liters. Depending on what you like personally will determine if you grab something stock or custom. For me, I like a little bit shorter board to fit in a small tight pocket real quick and give me that agility and maneuverability to increase speed and drive through turns. This is going to be a fun review. Sit back, get your favorite drink, enjoy the show. So what sparked my interest to review this model? I got an email from my friends in Australia at the Surfboard Empire. They said, Noel, there's something special about this model in a swallowtail. So I started poking around on the Cabianca website. I wanted to learn a little bit about the board, the wave range it's best suited for, and how that will relate to our community. Well, I found out in 2018, Gabriel Medina was riding a round tail and he won the Freshwater Pro at the Kelly Slater Surf Ranch. Now 2019, last year, Aaron and I were invited to go to the Freshwater Pro and interview some of the pros. And I remember Gabriel Medina saying that he stayed with a round tail because he won in 2018 on it. So now I had a personal interest in the round tail so I could experience what Gabriel Medina likes so much. And then I got the swallowtail so I could experience what the guys in Australia were saying that they liked and thought was special. So both of these boards were shaped in Spain and sent to the house for review. And I remember unpacking the box and noticing how unique the swallowtail was. First thing I noticed was how shallow the swallowtail is. And then I noticed there's some concave on the deck in the tail. So before I threw a traction pad on, I said, Aaron, can you please take the camera and video a little bit of work on the tail so I can show you guys how unique it is. I've personally never surfed anything like this before, so I emailed Johnny Cabianca and I said, what's the purpose of the concave in the tail? And he said that he wanted to keep the tail extra sensitive and for it to have good flex. Now, if we look at the foil in the tail, it's really thinned out. And for me, I could sink the board really quick, keeping it ultra sensitive and getting it to do what I wanted to do because I could sink the tail fast. Now, the extra flex he's talking about, I could feel it. It wasn't so much that I could pinpoint it was the concave in the tail or if it was the extra flex and pop I'm getting out of the EPS tech. Regardless of which one it was, it feels great. Now, when I put the board in this angle, you'll see it's got that high performance shortboard outline. Now, it's a little bit wider in the nose and tail. Coupled with relatively low entry and exit rocker, it's going to paddle good and it's extremely fast down the line. The other thing I wanted to point out is it has no significant bump or hip in the tail here. And I also wanted you to see how shallow the swallowtail is. Now when I hold it like this, I feel like it's important to point out that it has a flat deck with a fuller rail. Now that flat deck's going to give you a little bit more flex underfoot. And when you couple that with the epoxy EPS tech, I feel like it's giving you that projection or pop through turns, especially when I'm comparing the swallowtail to the PU poly. Now I want to talk a little bit about this EPS construction that Johnny Cabianca calls power roots. I mentioned it's a stringless EPS, so we've got some carbon on the deck here, and there's nothing super unusual about that. It's kind of the spine of the board replacing like a wood stringer. But when I turn it over here and you look and see this little line that kind of goes around the board here, well, those are actually pre-shaped channels. They're taking roving strips of carbon fiber and they're doing like an inlay and they're placing it inside, kind of like the routed space for this carbon to go inside to give it more structural integrity. And I'll tell you what it feels like underfoot. I feel like when I put the board on rail and I'm pushing hard, I feel like the first thing that I'm getting that flex and rebound from is out here on the rail, almost like a parabolic rail feel. Like where there's a wood stringer out here on the rail, giving it that quick rebound. Now there's probably something special going on with him pulling it in here enhancing or adding that tail flex where it's offering that pop and projection. Now looking at the bottom contours, it's relatively simple. A very subtle single concave. Under the front foot here, you can see it right here. And as I get more into the side fins, you can see it's getting a little bit more aggressive. Now, I would say probably about the last quarter of the center box, it's starting to rock back and forth. So there is some V in the tail here. And that's really just gonna help the board roll over on rail and allow you to hold it there. And then one of the things I noticed about the swallow and round tail, and it didn't matter if I was surfing waist high surf or even a foot overhead, for a board that has relatively low rocker, this board had great traction. I never felt like I was gonna slide out even on some of the bigger surf, but for me it was about how smooth the board is from rail to rail. I felt like I had speed, drive, and excellent flow on both boards. Now I wanna talk a little bit about the round tail. The PU poly felt great when the waves got bigger. One of the things I like about a round tail is that it has a lot of drive through turns. Remember, a round tail wants to surf around. It doesn't want to pivot as quick. Now, can I get it to pivot? Absolutely. But one thing to remember about a round tail is that water adheres to curves. So it's going to offer more hold and traction. And if you're thinking about ordering the Medina, and you're not sure about wave height, you want to ride it as a daily driver for that 1 to 6 foot surf, go with the round tail. If you want to be a little bit more specific and you want to put it in like 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 foot surf, go with the swallowtail in the Power Root Tech. I think it's going to blow your mind. Both boards felt good, and when it got bigger, this is the board I wanted to be on. I'll say this about this board in the stock dims at 25.3 liters, I would say I felt a little bit under flotation. I wish I would have went 2 1/4 thick instead of 2 3/16. That would have put me in that more of that 26 range with the PU poly, and I think it would have felt great. Now I want to talk about the fins I chose. And my first session on the Medina model was on the swallowtail. I chose a neutral template. Now this is a prototype fin, and I've been working on the concept for a couple of years now. Why don't we look at some waves first, and then we'll talk about the fins and what the board felt like afterwards. Now that first session was a blast. The waves were clean, it was rippable, and my first thoughts were, man, this board's fast and loose and it wants to pivot quick. Now, if you follow the show, you know I'm 160 pounds and I'm riding a large fin 95% of the time because I'm addicted to the speed. The large fin has a wide base, and when I get the board on rail and I start to push through my turns, it offers that resistance I'm looking for. And the harder I push through that turn, the more speed I can gain. Now, the large fin does have some sacrifices I'm making because of the large fin depth. It's going to have a bit more drag, and it's also going to make the board feel a bit tighter for a guy my weight. So I thought, let's hybridize the large fin base with medium fin depth. So this neutral template is going to give you the best of both carving and pivot. It's got the large base, so I'm going to get that drive through my turns with medium fin depth, so I'm going to have less drag and the board's going to feel loose and responsive. And that's exactly how the board felt. So much so that I like the tight transitions and how I could do a down carve and get right up in the lip again real quick. But I kind of felt like it was almost too loose, too fast, and I wanted a little bit more control. So this next set of waves, we're going to run the 5/8 with the Rake template, and then I'm also going to put the Rake template in this board. Check it out. Now that you've seen a few waves on both boards and multiple sessions, I like the Rake template the best. I believe the Medina model is fast and loose by design. So just adding a fin with a bit more rake offered more drive, more hold, and control. It has that large base, offering that resistance so I can push hard and gain speed through turns, and it has medium fin depth. So it's not going to have the drag a large fin depth would have, and it's keeping the board fast and loose. Now this is a fiberglass fin, so it's going to offer consistency and predictability, and you're going to get the pop and projection from the two constructions. Now we're calling this fin concept the Momentum Series. To learn more about that, hit the link below. So let's look at some waves together. Nice little top turn. I really like how the board rolls over on rail. I'm pushing on the board and it's got great flow with very little hesitation from turn to turn, and it picks up speed when I want it to, and it's just really smooth. Quick little down carve right into a top turn, so quick tight transition, board felt good. You're going to see it again right here backside, getting vertical real quick. This last turn, I love the speed coming out of that turn. Nice wave here, good size on this, nice bottom turn, good top turn, throwing lots of spray. I was really impressed with how the board was holding in. It doesn't have a lot of exit rocker, and there's some wonk on the wave face. The texture's clean, but able to put a bunch of good turns together in a wave that's well overhead. Nice turn right there. Watch the tail drift a little bit. Here's a good little left. You can see quick two-turn combo, great control, board feeling good. This last little cutback with a fun little floater to finish. These boards are feeling great. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Medina model by Cabianca Surfboards. This is a favorite of mine for 2020. I'm putting in the small wave high performance groveler category, best in 1 to 6 foot surf for that intermediate all the way to pro level surfers. Now, the swallowtail will be staying in the quiver, and it is special in that power root construction. You guys will love it, and they're offering worldwide shipping in areas where they don't have distribution. Special shout out thanks to Johnny Cabianca for sending these boards down for review. Hey, if you like the show, hit subscribe, and if you like the content, give us a thumbs up. Until next time, we'll see you in the water. Bye-bye.